Test. Setting the table with you, the final Wednesday of the regular season, and with 1 week until the Big East tournament, here's what's at stake tonight. Seton Hall, they've already clinched a share of the Big East regular season title. They're first since 1993. They could take it outright with a win over Villanova, but the Wildcats are still alive for just that. In the middle of the conference, Providence has a firm grasp on fourth. They host a Xavier team that is trying to avoid playing on Wednesday night in the Big East tournament. A critical one between two NCAA tournament contenders, Friars Musketeers at 6:30 Eastern on FS1. You've also got a couple teams trying to play spoiler. St. John's will visit the Butler Bulldogs. Butler, another team, as you took a look at those standings, that's trying to keep their way out of Wednesday night in the Big East tournament. And also Georgetown, they're already locked into Wednesday night in the first round, but they will take on a Creighton team, a J squad that has still won 9 of 11. Should be rocking out in Omaha. As we welcome you here in our New York City studio, everybody, John Fanta with you on Shootaround, and what a night this is. 4 games on the docket this evening. You've got a regular season title race that could get sealed up tonight or could re-intensify. In the middle of this conference, you've got NCAA tournament contenders with, at this point, 9 of the top 10 teams in the Big East inside the top 70 of the net rankings. And that's why right now Mike DeCourcy, the Fox College Hoops bracketologist, has 7 teams projected in the field of 68, which comes out, well, let's see, about 11 days from right now. But who's counting? Selection Sunday inching closer, and to think that all 10 of these teams are going to crash New York City next week at Madison Square Garden just says, buckle up. Let's look at the headlines. Let's look at the bracket. We've got a lot going on right now, and we've got Seton Hall and Villanova tonight in a state right now where you think about the what-if bracket. You've got the Pirates in that 1 seed. They really would be set up for a Big East tournament run, considering the way that they match up with Butler and Providence. And then down in the lower half, you've got the potential setup for a Creighton and Villanova semifinal. To think that Marquette is a 7 seed all of a sudden after their loss to DePaul last night, could see a rematch at the Garden next week. But for the Golden Eagles, they're falling in the wrong direction. They've lost 5 of their last 6. They're at St. John's on Saturday at the Garden, so they almost get a preview of the Big East tournament. But for Marquette right now, they got some scoreboard watching to do tonight, and they're going to be watching Butler. They're going to be watching Xavier as well, a couple of teams that are competing with them. The stage is set in Newark for the biggest Seton Hall home game in quite some time. 120th meeting between the Pirates and the Wildcats of Villanova here this evening at the Prudential Center. They're expecting around 16,000. So you've got a senior class that's led by Myles Powell. They're coming up on the show to talk about their journey in South Orange. A generational senior class. Will sum that up and sum up the stakes of tonight's rivalry showdown with the Wildcats. Also, we took a look at the what-if bracket, but the big story right now in the Big East is Providence. The Friars were on the outside looking in. They were an afterthought in college basketball, and Ed Cooley has got them on the right track. Providence has become only the 5th team in the history of the sport of college basketball to beat 5 consecutive top 25 teams. The Friars were even getting votes this week in the AP poll, which if you had said that to somebody a month ago, they would have called you downright crazy. But this Providence team is so good defensively. They guard just about as well as anybody can, only allowing 66 points per game, only gave up 54 to Villanova this past Saturday, and Luan Pipkins has turned his game up. On the 4-game winning streak, he's averaging 20 a game. When you combine him with David Duke and the ball movement down to Khalif Young, who can finish at the 10, this Providence team, they've got physicality, and the biggest question mark for them was, can their guard play evolve? Well, it has. And that starts with Pipkins, who is a cold-blooded shot maker as of late. So let's take a deep dive on the Friars, because earlier this week we caught up with the one and only Friartown's own Ed Cooley.
Well, I mean, you give the players a lot of credit, give the staff a lot of credit. We still got a lot of work to do, but I'm just glad that, our seniors, are flying high right now. And I think it's a credit to their perseverance. I think it's a credit to their character. I'm excited about the opportunities that lie ahead, but you can easily packed it in and said, enough's enough, but they didn't do that, and I'm really excited for them.
Luan Pipkins, the Umass transfer. You said in the preseason, Ed, that as he went for you at the one spot, you would go as a team. Well, in the last 4 games, he's averaging 20 points per game. He's shooting well over 50% from the field. What has clicked for your point guard? I
think, I'm his 3rd coach in 5 years, and I think him understanding what we want to do and how we want to do it, getting to understand the strengths of his teammates, knowing systematically what we're doing. I mean, it takes time. It takes some time, and then the ultimate thing is trust. And I think we're at that point now where it's trust. He's defending on the other end. We're moving the ball. I just think the synergy, it just took time to build that chemistry and the synergy. Who's
the unsung hero of this Providence team?
Khalif Young.
Why?
He does so much more than the stat sheet shows. In practice, in the locker room, on the plane, in the dorm, defensively, he communicates. He knows exactly what he's doing in multiple positions. To me, he's been, the person no one talks about that has one of the greatest impacts in the game.
When you think about this conference, you've talked a little bit about this, but what kind of an opportunity has this year in the Big East with 7 likely NCAA tournament teams, has that given you here in conference play?
Well, it's allowed us to bounce back. We did not have the non-conference performance that we had hoped for. So having a really, really strong conference with the net being as high as it's been, it affords you the opportunity, if you're fortunate to win, to get back on the right track and your numbers move in a big, big direction toward the positive.
You've got Xavier coming in Wednesday, and the matchup just says physicality, a knockdown, drag-out type of fight. What do you see out of the Musketeers here in your rematch with them this time at the Dunk that you want to be ready for?
Well, Travis has done a really good job there. And when I think about them, I just think of men. When you look at Tyreek Jones, he's a man. When I look at Najee Marshall, man. Scruggs, man. Fremantle really coming on. Carter gives them a different look, different weapon. Anytime you can have a senior come off the bench and Gooden, who's an athletic power guard, and then Tandy has played as, he's been their silent assassin. A 3 here, a pull-up jump shot here. I mean, that's going to be a war that we're excited for. We had a really good game at the Seton Center where we didn't feel offensively we were really good, but I thought their defense had a lot to do with that. I'm anticipating a really, really strong game. I just hope we're fortunate enough to win.
What's the moment, Ed, whether it be a practice or a game, that you thought to yourself, we could turn this thing around?
Well, we played Purdue in a close scrimmage out in Indianapolis way back in November, and that sight stayed in my head, that toughness, that group. I always thought that was our team, and that's who our team could be. So I always go back to that point, thinking about the possibilities. Was there a turning point this year? I thought since the start of the Big East. Actually, let's go back to when we played Texas. When we played Texas, I thought we made a big jump as far as our determination, our physicality, our identity to defense first, moving bodies, moving the ball. Butler at home probably was one of our worst games we played this year. But other than that, I think in all the Big East games, we have been right there to either win it or lose it. Hopefully we continue to play well at home.
All 10 teams and coaches will be at Madison Square Garden next week for the Big East tournament. I'm curious, Ed, any sort of routine, tradition, something that is synonymous with you and Big East tournament week when you think about that week and the magic of it?
The magic of the Big East tournament is amazing. We have a set routine where we get on the train, we go down there, we get picked up at Penn Station, we head over to our hotel. The guys normally get something really good to eat, but just the aura of March, the aura of Madison Square Garden. I talk about, the smell on the freight train, the elevator going up in the back of the garden, hearing the horns and the whistles of New York City streets, seeing how busy everything is, stopping in at the wonderful delis and getting a sandwich the size of the computer. It's a lot of fun, and I'm really fortunate to be part of it. You can get caught up in it because it's nostalgia to me, being born and raised here in the Big East.
Really just a remarkable run that the Providence Friars have been on, thanks to their head coach, Ed Cooley, for joining us, talking about the New York City Deli, the bells and the whistles, and it all comes to MSG March 11th to the 14th. Folks, that's just a week from now in New York City. You just think about the Friars, and here's the note that stands out. In the month of February, Providence tallied 6 Quadrant 1 wins. Nobody else in college basketball had more than 4. And in a year where it's wide open in the NCAA tournament conversation, there's teams reappearing on the bubble on a nightly basis. Texas last night beating Oklahoma is one such example. When you get a statement win, when you get one of those quad 1 wins, it could totally change the complexion of your campaign. Providence has 5 straight top 25 victories. They've now won 4 in a row. And the similarities with Xavier are striking. Both teams average around 70 points per game, and they only allow 66 per game. That just says tight inside the Dunkin' Donuts Center here this evening. By the way, key update on Xavier. Their junior guard, Paul Scruggs, is out tonight with a hamstring injury. He tried to give it a go, but he is out, reports the Inquirer's Adam Baum. Well, let's turn back to the Seton Hall Pirates. The Hall senior class has been a part of something that, some Pirate fans are calling once in a lifetime. And tonight, the program has a chance to do something very special in front of their home fans. Win an outright Big East regular season championship for the first time in 27 years. Wow. Myles Powell is the 4-year player that Kevin Willard said he thought could be good. He didn't even think that Powell would be this great. Powell carries the brand of the university unlike any player has before in program history. With our era of social media and where things are in 2020, he just is a step above, not only on the court, but who he is off of it. He's accompanied by 2 transfers who are a direct example of the player development that Kevin Willard brings to the table. Quincy Mcknight, the Sacred Heart transfer, his recent performance, 8 assists to 0 turnovers against Marquette. And then down low, Romaro Gill averages over 4 rejections per game. In junior college, he didn't even average a block or more than a bucket a contest. So between that player development and Powell's greatness, this senior night and what's at stake and what comes with it against, of all opponents, Villanova, this is pretty special, what we're embarking on tonight, folks. Here's the Seton Hall senior class on this remarkable journey.
It's a dream come true. I mean, to be able to win a championship and then graduate later in that same building in May, I mean, those are 2 things I came back for school for, winning the championship and graduating. So, I mean, like I said, it'd be a dream come true for this to happen on Wednesday.
Coming from lower level, I never thought I'd be a part of this. It's a great team you have here. It's a once-in-a-lifetime thing for us. It's our last time going around, and being able to, win the regular season at home and in front of our crowd on senior night would be amazing for us, and we're excited.
That's what we've been working for ever since we got here, and to be the group to do it in the past, 26 or 27 years, that's a great thing. I mean, that's something for like the next generation to like remember us by.
Honestly, this has been a goal of ours since the summertime. When we went out in Italy, I mean, this was the talk that we was talking, championship talk, and we just kind of talked it into existence. I mean, since summertime, we've really been working hard for this. And I mean, there's no other group that I feel like that I've played with that deserves it more than this group. It doesn't matter who's doing it or how it's getting done, as long as we're winning and we're staying together. And I mean, like I said, we feel like anything is possible. So we just kind of stay with that mindset, and like I said, we just stay with each other, and I feel like that took us a long way.
Coach Willard's done a great job with me, just changing my game, passion for the game. He just put a lot of battery in my back the whole season since last year when I first started playing, just to be that guy on defense and just be that guy, just to be a leader for the team. And that's what I've done, and he's done a great job with me.
It's been a journey, man. I can remember the first day I got here, like, I was nowhere close to where I am today. Like, I couldn't like catch a ball properly. Like, my feet weren't quick enough. I mean, these guys have helped me a lot, helped me develop, especially like Grant. Helped me with my ball handling skills and all that. In the weight room, Jason helped me get stronger and all that. So, it's been a journey. Knowing that it's senior night and Wednesday is like the final time we're gonna play in the Prudential, like, it's not hitting me right now yet as hard, but I feel like coming Wednesday, you're gonna hit me different.
I've been thinking about it a lot the last couple of days. It's kind of sad, it's the end of a legacy here, and but it's just great. We're gonna play, like I said, we're gonna out there play hard and just play Seton Hall basketball.
I'm just trying to take it like a regular game. Like I said, it's more to stake now than it just being my night and senior night. Like I said, it's about the whole university now and us doing it for the university. So we're going to go out Wednesday. It's going to be senior night, but it's a championship in our eyes. And you never know what's going to happen. We know it's going to be a great game, a great atmosphere, and like I said, the best team is going to win.
We don't behave senior night, but, we don't want to stop there. I think we have like 10 more games in us. That's what we want, like, we've been practicing all summer and getting ready for like this big moment that's about to be up on us. So we just got to stay consistent and, as I say, be humble and just keep on grinding it out. I feel like whatever is on the table that we want, we can go take it right now. So we just got to have that mindset. Don't get too complacent and just go out there and just battle for what we want.
Interesting thought on the opponent in Villanova. The Wildcats actually have less road losses this year than they have home losses. You would not have thought that until now. When you think about Villanova, they've lost a couple of home conference games this season in a bit of surprising fashion. Seton Hall being one opponent, Creighton being another. So coming in here, Providence just this past weekend, coming in here tonight, the Wildcats are 7-3 away from home. The key for Villanova in wins this year, they're shooting over 37% from three. In losses this year, they're only shooting 29% from three. So for the Wildcats, the key for them, it's not just Colin Gillespie and Sadiq Bey, who combined to average around 30 points per game. They need to get production from Justin Moore, the freshman, from Jeremiah Robinson-Earl, the freshman, as well as Jermaine Samuels, the junior. When one of those guys or two of those guys is hitting shots, it alleviates the pressure off Gillespie and Bey and allows Villanova to be more complete offensively. The Wildcats need that tonight. I think they've got the defense. Hopefully Gillespie, who had that upper thigh bruise, is okay heading into tonight. He didn't look right against Providence because on the other side, Quincy Mcknight is a killer and held Gillespie to only 4 field goals in their first meeting back on February the 8th, a meeting that saw Seton Hall really own the glass. The Pirates led the rebounding battle 43-32 in that first game against Villanova. So can the Wildcats try to find a way to contain Seton Hall's size with the Jay Wright technique spacing that has led them to so much success? So Villanova trying to stay alive in the regular season title race this evening in the Big East. So next Wednesday, we will be live with you at 4 Eastern Time with our annual tournament preview show and the Big East Awards ceremony. Who's going to win Player of the Year, Coach of the Year, Freshman of the Year, Scholar Athlete as well? Well, we pulled some national experts Stadium's Jeff Goodman, NBC Sports' Rob Doster, as well as CBS's Matt Norlander. And in our Ask the Experts this week, you'll be surprised, or maybe not that surprised, to know that they agreed on almost nothing. Myles Powell or Marcus Howard, Big East Player of the Year?
Marcus Howard leads the nation in scoring. Now, watch Powell win it. But see, Powell's got a lot more help around him. Howard should be the answer. Howard leads the nation in scoring, and he does so much more for Marquette. If Powell doesn't play for Seton Hall makes the NCAA tournament. If Howard doesn't play for Marquette doesn't. That's my answer.
I'm going to give it to the best player on the best team because I think that's what needs to be done here, and I think you got to give it to Myles Powell right now. As long as Seton Hall locks this thing up, I think he just brings every intangible to the table too. That not that Marcus Howard doesn't. Not that a guy like Marcus Zegarowski, who's had an unbelievable year, doesn't as well. But I love the little things that Myles Powell does that a lot of people don't really see. The screens he sets, the way he deals with his teammates, just does and says all the right things. So I'm giving it to Myles Powell.
But I personally would go with Howard just because like the numbers he's putting up are absolutely insane. And look, I love Myles Powell. He's one of my favorite players in the country. If there are 5 guys in college basketball I want taking a game-winning shot, he's definitely one of the 5. I think he's borderline first-team All-American. He's not only averaging 27 points, he's having a ridiculous season from an efficiency perspective. So I just kind of tend to lean Howard here, but I don't really think there's a wrong answer.
Best player in the Big East not named Myles Powell or Marcus Howard?
I'm going to say Tyshawn Alexander. Good enough from three-point range, elite defender, top 10, top 15 defender in America. This league has a lot of talent there. You got to start after those 2 that you mentioned there.
Marcus Zegarowski, to me. I just think what he's done for his team. Again, point guard play is so important, and there's a reason why Creighton has overachieved. They don't have a big man. He's done it all, and he just does it kind of with that even keel philosophy.
We got to go out to Omaha, Fanta, and we got to talk about Marcus Zegarowski. He's one of these guys that took such a step forward this year.
Big East Coach of the Year?
That's a good one. I'm going to give it to Cooley because of how poor they were early.
So I'm giving it to Greg McDermott because, again, he's done it. He's had to put this thing together without a big man. And hell of a coach. I mean, just, again, so underrated. And he's recruited well. He's evaluated well and really developed his players.
I think you got to give it to Kevin Willard. Look, he's won the Big East, which is maybe the best, maybe the second best conference in all of college basketball. He is up by 2 full games in the league standings. All he has to do is win one of his last 2 games, and he wins the outright Big East regular season title.
Postseason dark horse in the conference?
We'll go with Marquette because we've seen it so many times over the years, John. Okay, you've got a superstar player in that building in the month of March, and I could see Marquette and Marcus Howard having a Jerry McNamara Syracuse 06 kind of moment where he carried that team to the Big East championship. So to me, Marquette's the pick.
I'll go Xavier. Only because if they can slip out of that spot and not have to play on the first night, I think that's going to be critical. And I don't think they will. I think they'll avoid that. And if they can just make shots, and I know it's not easy for them, but if they can get Kiki Tandy going and Najee Marshall playing at a high level, Tyreek Jones has been terrific.
Let's put it like this. Providence is the team that I do not want to see either in the Big East tournament or the NCAA tournament coming out of this conference. Because you got to figure, at least in the Big East tournament, they're kind of trending toward like a top 4 seed. So you're not going to end up getting them in the second round. But imagine being like a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament this year. And in the second round, your reward for all of the work that you did all season is to play the team that beat 5 ranked teams in the month of February. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that is right. Rob Doster brings up a good point. You can catch him and Jeff Goodman on Stadium's College Hoops Insiders. It's every Monday evening. And catch Matt Norlander on CBS Sports HQ as well as the CBS network platforms this time of year. Them and Turner, the home of March Madness. Well, let's look again at the standings in the conference just to give you a little bit of a breakdown here of what I'm looking at tonight. You've got a pair of teams at 8-8 right in action. And for Butler, And Xavier, you think about the Musketeers visiting a Providence team that has been red hot, and the Musketeers without Paul Scruggs. That makes this real difficult on Xavier. And here's what's at stake, Musketeer followers. The last 38 years, Xavier has finished 500 or better in conference play. The last 38 years, 500 or better. The Musketeers have Providence on the road tonight and then Butler at home this weekend. They need to win one to keep that streak intact. It's one that means a lot to this program. And you think about Xavier, they started 2-6 in Big East play. So since then, they are 6-2, which is why two teams that have played much better basketball as of late collide tonight in Friartown. That should be a lot of fun. For Butler, look, St. John's is not going to lie down. What we've seen from the Red Storm is, even though they're 4-12 in conference play, this Johnny's team, 7 Eastern Time, CBS Sports Network, you're going to want to tune into that one because you've got a St. John squad that all of a sudden has been able to find themselves a little bit offensively. It's not just LJ Figueroa, but Rasheem Dunn has stepped his game up. How about Greg Williams? Before Sunday's game against Creighton, Williams was 7 for 21 from 3 in conference play. He went 7 of 10. Hit 7 alone against the Blue Jays. So St. John's has some good mojo. And you think to yourselves, heading into the Big East tournament, they're going to be in that 8-9 game against Georgetown. St. John's, with a win in that game, you got some buzz around New York City, could be facing Seton Hall in the high noon quarterfinal. That gets the appetite going here, this March Madness. It really does, to think that we could see another showdown between the metropolitan rivals. That could be really interesting. A 4-game night on the docket. You got an FS1 doubleheader that we just showed you, starting at 6:30 Eastern Time, and then a couple of games across Fox Sports regional networks as well as CBS Sports Network. Follow us at Big East MBB. I'll check in with you guys from the Prudential Center in a little bit for the first of 2 straight top 15 showdowns in the Big East this week. Seton Hall, Villanova tonight, number 8 versus number 14, and then number 8 versus number 11, Pirates and Creighton Saturday. How much that one means on Saturday depends a lot on what we're about to see tonight in Newark. Next time we talk to you on a full shoot-around, it's going to come to you from the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. We have a cast of thousands with you from New York City next week. Much more to come on that. Best time of the year. Enjoy it. This has been Big East Shoot-Around.